Hello and welcome to Faces of Crypto, where we get to know the people behind the social media accounts that you guys know and enjoy following. So today we're with Bitcoin Bella. So say hello.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So you guys probably know her from Twitter mainly. She also has a YouTube channel. So today, instead of asking the traditional questions we ask a lot of our guests here, we are going to be talking about her experience at Consensus. So go ahead and just tell us, like, when did you have the idea to go and what were you expecting to get out of it?
All right, so last year my business partner went, and I think kind of already told everybody about, my experience starting my new job and everything like that. He went kind of when I first started the company with him. So I was like, what is that? Consensus looks so cool. I was watching the videos, the live stream. And so I knew that I was going to go this year, but it wasn't really finalized until maybe like a month before. And yeah, so I registered, got there on a Sunday. It was in New York City. And the line, even on the Sunday before the Monday, which is when it started, was like really, really super long. It was at the New York Hilton in Midtown. The line was super long, but somehow Ambroid and I like we didn't see that there was a line there, so we just got so we just like
You just walked
basically
in.
cut the whole thing. Yeah, we cut the so I'm sorry if anybody like saw us and are pissed off at us, but we basically didn't really wait at all. But if we would have waited on Sunday, I think it would have been better than the people that had to wait the Monday morning because even people like Desiree Dickerson, she had to wait in line from like 9 until noon or something like that. And there was a bunch of speakers that
Yeah.
you know had things that were happening before then, so they missed out on a lot of things in the morning. A lot of the people were just waiting in line and waiting in a queue the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Well, you know that,
that was yeah,
that
that's like the pre stuff that happened. I don't know what you want to know about the actual conference.
well, the general consensus is that people did not like
But
people don't yeah, the general consensus is that people did not like it. And so I don't know what people were expecting to get out of it other than a big pump that we didn't get. But just talk to us a little bit about what your opinion of consensus was. Would you go back,
Mhm.
and just things like that.
Okay, so it's not that I didn't like it. I did find it to be a good primer if you don't really know anything
Mm,
about crypto. I don't know. I think I was expecting a little bit more it to be a little bit more educational. But what I got from it was more of a general understanding of what it is. And I think maybe a lot of the people there weren't really going to learn about like code or about what exactly
right.
Bitcoin is or anything like that. That's what I would have wanted just because that's what I kind of want to know about. But I think maybe a smaller conference or maybe just solo education might be the way for something like that. Um, the reason why I didn't like it was, well, what might have been some negatives about it was just that it was so crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there were a few times when I wanted to get into a room. The one that everybody was kind of excited about was the regulation one, kind of figuring out what the SEC was going to say about it. And the CFTC was there, I think, as
Mm,
well, and an attorney, and also was it the guy from the Bittrex guy, the CEO of Bittrex? And they were all on a panel, and they were in one room, and it was a smaller conference
mm-hmm.
room, and a whole bunch of people thought that it was in another one. So the small conference room was already full, and then all the people that went
Oh
into the other
man,
little
what a
conference
disaster.
room, yeah, found out that it
Yeah.
was in the other room. So then everybody went, you know, like cattle into the other room, and then people had to stand in the back. And luckily, I found a spot, but it was just difficult, for to get space and just walk around. And I'm so
Yeah.
small that like I felt very claustrophobic, and people were all over the place. But in terms of like that one, the security, the SCC, and the regulation information, I instead of getting like any kind of exact um, rules that we need to follow or any kind of like groundbreaking information. It was more of just, they know that it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Regulation is coming. They're figuring it out. And it sounded friendly towards crypto, but of course they're not going to go to a conference full of people and tell everybody that they're shaking everyone down.
Crypto's over. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So because it was very kind of neutral, I did feel a little bit bullish about it. Just because they weren't saying like, cryptos has to go away and everybody's going to go to jail or something like that.
You guys, there's an officer waiting right in the back. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they didn't kind of repeat what the SEC chairman said before, which was like all ICOs are probably securities. Right. They didn't say that this time. So that was what I got from that kind of speaker speech.
Well, I know we were talking before we went on the air here about, for me personally, I go to conferences a lot for my job, and it's a totally different area than cryptocurrency, obviously. But what I've learned through going to conferences is not about the information. It's really about the networking. It's about meeting people. It's about having vendors there that have booths and being able to ask them questions. So let's talk about both of those areas. Number one, let's go into who did you get to meet and network with, and then after that we'll go into, I don't know if you talked to any of the vendors or anything like that.
Okay, sure. I don't know. I think some people probably saw all the pictures that I posted. Yeah. I was just so excited that I met everybody.
I know.
I took cool. a lot more. Yeah. I took a lot more than I actually posted, so I held back. But in terms of crypto Twitter, a lot of people were there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to look at my picture now. Like, I hung out with Ambroid. He is somebody that sometimes comes on my shows on Shitcoin Talk. And he was so friendly and nice and fun. Renta Rocker, Crypto Noob Girl from the Pod.
Yeah.
And she also works on the 21 Cryptos magazine. Shil Nye.
Now, did he ever take his mask off?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what I should tell you guys.
Who's it really? Is he a big celebrity? We just don't know it,
Yeah, he took his mask off. He's very handsome. But yeah, he put it back on for the photographs.
Yeah, that was cool.
He's a really nice person.
Okay.
Really knowledgeable, and he has a plan, and he has goals, and I think that's great. So
yeah, you gotta respect that for sure.
Yeah, he's working it. Peter McCormick, the podcast guy.
Okay.
We had a really nice discussion about the podcast that he just did with Roger Ver.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really controversial because people were saying, why did you even do it with him, and why did you even give him a platform, because you already know what he's going to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hadn't listened to the whole thing, but my friend did. My friend who actually showed me around New York, Zach, and he was talking to him about it. And I think what Zach said about Peter's podcast was that, he did ask the tougher questions, and it wasn't like he was pandering to him. It was like he really wanted to know, like, why do you feel this way, and like why, he broke it down. So it was really neat to be able to listen to their discussion about that.
Well, how could someone who is in the business of podcasting or influencing or whatever it may be, like, turn down an interview with Roger Ver?
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
just for informational purposes and to have him on your show. I mean, if he, not that he's calling me anytime soon, but, I wouldn't turn it down. I mean, unless you're just plan on slamming Bitcoin Cash, let him come tell a story. Maybe he'll say something different,
Right. And I think that he was able to, from my understanding, look at it from a different point of view and kind of tell him, like, well, how about this? How about that? This is how people are perceiving you in the way that you're kind of like promoting. I don't know how to say it without being rude, but so it was really neat, because I think that he's really brave to do that.
Yeah.
And he was also able to interview other people like Craig Wright. And,
oh, wow.
So he's got a good podcast too. Who else was there? Oh, the Pink, Pamela Page,
okay.
Pink Crypto. Yeah, she was the one that organized the dinner. That was really neat. Mars Mensch, he works on masternodes and is really knowledgeable about security. Before we went, he even posted a Medium article about, how not to get hacked.
Yeah.
How not to get hacked at consensus.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So,
what was?
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. What was the mood of it? I mean, were you guys able to separate kind of what was going on in the markets at the time from what was going on at the conference? Because they started taking a dive while you guys were there. And I just thought to myself, if I was there, what would I be thinking? Because I almost felt like for us that did not go, I'd like to go next year, but for those of us that didn't go, we're just sitting watching the markets like waiting for the pump, because not necessarily because there's some kind of fundamental reason other than just the precedent of the last several years. It did every single year, both before or during and afterwards. So, but I thought to myself, if I was there and all the stuff that was going on, I probably wouldn't even be looking at my Blockfolio that much, So can you just talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I wasn't looking at my Blockfolio at all. But I think that if it was pumping, I would have known about it and I probably would have been more excited, maybe on a higher high. But I was just excited to be there and to meet everyone. Yeah. So I didn't pay attention to it, but I was disappointed when I came back to find out that it hadn't pumped at all. And now kind of where the market's at. It's just like...
Well, my biggest bag is ERX, so I'm actually like doing okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, because I know everything else is down. So, and it's down too, but it eased my pain a little bit. I don't know what's going on right now. Nobody really seems to know. It seems like, but
nobody knows. So I've been hedging by learning to short Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah, I think you just lost all of your followers.
I know. But it's about people need to make money, right?
Yeah.
So, and me shorting Bitcoin is not going to change the world.
No, of course not. No. And I think, I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't really the topic what we're talking about, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down to 6,500 or so. It's hard to see it getting lower than that. But who knows? So let's back on the subject of, like I said, the vendors. Who were some of like the projects that were there that you were interested in? Did you have any conversations with any of the vendors? And if so, just let us know what that was about.
Sure. So you cut out right there. I'm just going to assume that you said who are some of the vendors that I went up to and talked to. Okay, so I made a Twitter comment about this. I was walking around the entire area of all the vendors, and like I tried to talk to them and they didn't really seem interested in talking to me. It was a little bit disappointing. Yeah. The only one that did was this virtual reality Lamborghini cars on the blockchain. It's kind of like CryptoKitties, but cars. I think it's called Car.io or something like that.
Yeah, I've actually heard of that.
It's a really cool project.
Yeah. Somebody told me about it months ago, and they said it's like decentralized car ownership or something.
Right, and you can rent them and race them. And I even put on their virtual reality eyeglasses or whatever you call it. Yeah, the headset, and it was really neat. So they told me all about their project. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I wish I could say like I learned this and I learned that, but I was just walking around and like asking people about their projects, and they didn't really care to tell me about it. Even one was like, "Oh, you should just watch the video." I'm like, "No, I don't want to watch the video. I just want to ask you about it. Like, what do you know about your project?" And they were like, "Oh, here's the video. Just watch it." I'm like, "No, forget it. You guys are not that great." So
well, and I think I would be interested to know like what part of all these different projects marketing teams are, or I should say their conference teams are made up of like actual marketing people, and then maybe people that are almost too tech heavy that they can't even have normal conversations with people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's a fine line between, well, maybe not a fine line. It's total opposites. It's, you're either so tech heavy into it that you can't talk to people and you're too shy, or you're a marketing person and you're too scared to answer questions because you don't know the answers.
You don't want to mess it up. Yeah. And I think that's where we just really have to get to this point of, for social media influencers that are involved in cryptocurrency, for people that are mods on the subreddits, is to get away from judging people or criticizing them so bad if they say one wrong thing or make a mistake with what they say. Like if somebody makes a mistake when they're telling you something, all of a sudden it's, oh, this person doesn't know anything. I did a video about it was on high power or high performance blockchain, the crypto. And, you know, one thing in it, I was talking about UnionPay, which is like the credit card in China. You know, it's like the equivalent of Visa and MasterCard. And I said something like, you know, it trying to catch up to them. Well, then I went back after somebody corrected me on it, and I read the article, and I was like, oh, I misread it. It said that together they're bigger than UnionPay, not each one separately. And the guy was like, you did terrible research on this video. You don't know anything about this project. I'm like, I freaking misread a line. You know what I mean? And it's just, I feel like there's so many people in the space that are so good, like you and, you know, all the people on Twitter that, you know, we tend to associate with. There's probably 50 or 100 accounts, you know. But outside of that, like there's so much vitriol in the space, you know.
There is, yeah, and that's why I feel really grateful that generally everybody's really nice to me. But I've had to put a big disclaimer of, hey, I've only been doing this for a year. I don't know anything, and actually, I probably know more than I let on. But it's like I can't put a statement out there because then if it's wrong, people are gonna jump on it. So I'm like, I don't know anything. Tell me everything, you know. I'm not even gonna like tell. Well, I'm not that worried about what people might think because I think they already understand that I'm still learning. But yeah, that the thought comes in my mind when I'm like, I think I know that, but I'm not gonna say it because it's when you're in school and you don't want to raise your hand because you might be wrong. That's kind of how I feel sometimes. But on the other hand, I'm like, whatever. I just want to learn. So,
but it doesn't matter what, not to cut you off, but it doesn't matter, you know, how many disclaimers you put out there, like, just my opinion, not financial advice. This is not an exhaustive review on this. You know, people, and one thing that I've really got, you know, I've really come to understand about, you know, doing news videos and doing coin reviews and just education on different areas. So I'm like you, I'm not an expert, you know, I'm pretty good at doing research, I feel like, and I can communicate it very well where, you know, hopefully it simplifies things for people. But, you know, the thing about doing these general overview videos is that if someone's in a community, they know so much more about the project than I know about it. You know, if they've been holding a bag of something for a year and they go to that subreddit religiously and they know every piece of news that comes out, they've got their antennas up and they're almost like looking for you to say something wrong when I'm just trying to do a general overview. And like, you know, everybody says, you know, do your own research at the end of their videos. And it's true because, you know, I'm still learning about things. And so I think for each one of the communities, whether it's on Twitter or on Reddit, whatever it might be, you know, just be easy on people, you know, don't always be looking to attack people because you know what it's like. You say one, we talked about one time I know where you were talking about like the difference between a coin and a token and you were like, oh, I got to make sure I say the right one or else people will attack me. And I just wish that's something in cryptocurrency that we could get past. And I think once we kind of move more towards mainstream and adoption, I think some of it will end, but then of course you'll have more trolls that'll come in from just the general population. But
yeah, the trolls aren't going away anytime soon. I think what people have to remember is that this whole space is so new.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and one of the things I got from Consensus is one of the end remarks from a guy. I don't even know who he was, but he said, if you think you're too late, you're not. You know, the people that have 1 year of experience in this are already, you know, have more experience than everybody else, basically, right? So if you want to get into the space, just start today, and by next year, you're going to be ahead of everybody else in the whole world. So people just need to understand that everyone is kind of interested in it, but not everybody is an expert in their little one field that they might be in, you know, or one coin that they've been looking at for the last year. And so I appreciate you. Yeah.
I just wish it wouldn't be, you know, like the competition of who's the oldest G, you know, who is the OSG in the space, and you get all the credit because you're the OSG, and it's just, you know, maybe I should get that trending on Twitter, OSG, but but it doesn't have to be a competition. I mean, because like the truth is, like so my brother and I, at some point we got into this online ticket business, and I think you and I talked about before, and he got in 4 months after me, and I got him into it, and so for the first like 2 or 3 years, it was like, well, I've been doing this longer than you, and but after a certain amount of time, like none of that matters, like we both had the same knowledge, and you look back, and so I look 10 years down the road, and that's how we're going to look at this. We're going to look back, and if you've been in it for 2 years or 3 years or 1 year, it's all going to be the same thing. We're in before mass adoption. So
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing.
Yeah. It's like that in every kind of job. That's why they have rookies,
Yeah.
or like they call them first year associates if you're a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just there so that you can give them shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you kind of have to get hazed, right?
Yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from.
In crypto, we just call them noobs and plebs, right?
Yes, exactly.
But it's all said in good fun. But there are people that say that they're above those people when there was a time when they didn't know anything either. So
yeah, it's super condescending.
Yeah, I hate that.
That's what Twitter is,
Yeah.
Right.
That's
why. Yeah, we just have to tailor our experience a little bit better, and that's what I'm learning.
Yeah.
As I move forward on Twitter, it's weird for me because I don't realize that I have a lot of people that are actually following me, so I make that mistake a lot, but and I let the wrong people into my space.
Yeah.
And it hurts me sometimes. So you just have to learn that it's the internet, and we can literally just block them. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the first sign of any kind of issue, it's like block.
Yeah. Well, you just
You're gone, dude.
Somebody attacked me because I cleared out like everybody I'm following on Twitter, and I did a Forward Friday last Friday, or a Follow Friday, whatever you want to call it. And I did all of the people I'm following, because I'm only following like 80 people now, or like 85. So congratulations, you made the cut.
Oh, thanks.
But I just want to do it to really clear out, because going through my Twitter timeline was pointless, because I was following too many people and stuff. So I cleared it out. And one of the people that I was following, just by coincidence, I'd followed him at some point and never unfollowed him, and it looked like he had a big account. And I got attacked for putting him on the list because they were saying, oh, he's a scammer, you don't know he stole all this money from you. I'm like, no, I have no idea. I have no idea who this guy is. I just know I thought I was going to keep following him, So we don't know people personally. Like, how many people, you obviously got to meet a lot of people at Consensus, but I mean, how many people that you meet on crypto Twitter, like, do you know in real life? Like, very, very few. So you don't know what they're about, So I think that it's good when we get to know each other and when we have, times like Consensus, but we can't be held accountable for all of our Twitter followers or the people we follow, It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different world, my friend.
Yeah. So you do have to have tough skin in this space for sure sometimes. But, well, I guess that is going to wrap it up for us. Thanks for coming on and talking about Consensus and everything that, you experienced there. I think it's good to hear directly from somebody that was there, in your own words, what some of the problems were. It was too crowded, was one, you mentioned a couple times. So, but thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, so I had some dramatic things happen to me the other day, and my handle has changed a little bit. Right now it's Bitcoin Bella with an underscore at the end. So you can find me there, or you can find me on YouTube, www.youtube.com/BitcoinBella, or you can find me on Instagram.
Okay.
Bitcoin_Bella. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Still trying to grow that one. I know, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I see you on there.
Okay. Just making sure. So, okay. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you later.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.